always be awkward. Thank you. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the live Ask Todd with Todd.
Yeah, and Tyler. I'm here as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tyler Goff. I am in Learning and Development, and today's show is sponsored by Learning and Development. So in a lot of ways, you can think of me as sort of today's producer, showrunner, director.
Yeah, but I think when you think about a show, sometimes you think about a show and you don't really think about the commercials being the first thing that you see. You know what I mean?
I do,
like, yeah,
actually.
The commercials are important, but I think they typically come a little bit later. And I think that probably the Todd part, I think Todd should come first in the name, and I think that that's probably what's more important.
Well, I can answer one question for everybody today. Todd, have you ever seen the Super Bowl? The answer must be no, because lots of people tune in for the Super Bowl just for the commercials. I've never seen a single play from the Super Bowl. I've seen every commercial. And when I'm at times like right now, where we're all stressed and stuck inside, every night I fall asleep. What's up?
Have you seen that? Yeah.
Yeah. We have one thing in common there. That's a good one. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Ask Todd is sort of this kind of schlocky, sort of like a radio DJ type Slack channel that Todd has where he answers people's questions. And they're kind of like these answers that are sort of like I don't know. I don't really get it, to be honest. I don't really get the attraction. But the point of the Ask Todd Slack channel is that he answers questions that people ask him.
Hey, thanks so much for writing in, Vanessa. Schlocky is your question with, is that 6 question marks? Something like that. Yeah, so I think that Tyler sometimes uses adjectives that he himself doesn't exactly understand. And what you have to know is that some people, when they slick back their hair, put on their AirPods, they think to themselves, if I don't use words that aren't in the normal everyday vernacular, people won't think I'm smart because I'm not. And so they'll throw in a word like schlocky. Now, does it mean anything? No, it's a signifier. What does it signify? It signifies that Tyler is just sort of an amateur. Thanks so much for writing in. Hope this helps.
Todd, why don't you introduce yourself really quickly for the people who don't know you, which is most of the company doesn't actually know who you are. And then introduce yourself and introduce what Ask Todd is all about, and we can get started with the
My name is Todd. This is Ask Todd live. If you've never seen the Ask Todd channel, it's hashtag Ask Todd, no spaces, of course, because it's Slack. And in the channel, I just field questions from people who need help, right? Like, that's all I do. It's really a service. Mike Carroll says, Todd looks so cool. And that's a great question.
You don't need to keep reading the chat. You don't need to keep reading the chat. People can see the chat. Just explain what your show is, and let's get through. Let's just get this over with. You don't need to read the chat. Everyone can see the chat.
I feel like you interrupted me and I need to start over now. So Ask Todd is a Slack channel, if you've never heard of it. So I'm just saying maybe don't interrupt me, and then we can actually get through the intro. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
People can't see the chat. It says our messages can only be seen by the panelists. Can we make sure that people can share with well, let's see.
We'll get the tech team working on that. So basically what we're going to be doing today, everyone, is we are going to be doing a live Q&A here with Todd. I'll be moderating the Q&A. What I'd like everybody to do, the way I'd like for this to kind of go is there is a Q&A function in Zoom that I'd like everyone to utilize for this today. And using that Q&A function, I want you to go ahead and write in your questions. And we're going to be fielding these questions, and we are going to be answering those. Todd will be answering those to the best of his ability. And that's how today's going to roll. We're going to do that till about 9.
That's a great question, Kyle. Kyle said one of the main differences between Todd and Tyler is that one of them actually loves their haters. And you can tell which is which, you can guess which is which. And that's really a great question. I do love my haters. And I'll tell you why I love my haters, because they remind me that I am better than them. They wouldn't hate me if I were less than them. You know what I mean? And so I use that as fuel. I consider my haters Gatorade. I call it, this is something I came up with. I call it Haterade.
All right, we have our first question. We have our first question here from Kat with a K. hey Todd, have you actually read any of those books behind you, or are they just there to look smarter?
That's a great question. I have read some of these. I actually kind of want to share some of my favorites with you. That'd be kind of fun. This is a 1901 Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. That's a very fun one. I have, this is a first edition, For Whom the Bell Tolls, by Hemingway. You can see, I'll show you the first edition just so you know that it's legit. You can say, as stated, there's an A right there on the title page, so you know. Can you see that all right, Tyler?
Not really.
Okay, and then one of my favorite ones here, oh, maybe I don't have it in this case. It might be my other case. Well, I do have this. This is a first edition, first printing of Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters by J.D. Salinger. And I'll just show you where it says that, just so you know it's real. Okay, here we go. First edition right there. Can you see that, guys? Isn't that great? So these are some of my favorite books. I've read.
Hey, Todd, let's try to stick to the actual questions themselves, because no one actually.
That was a
well,
question.
People want to know if you've read them. No one actually cares what edition they are.
Yeah, but how would I know what edition they are if I haven't read them? At least read the title page. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So Kat, he's read the title pages to all those books, at the very least. That's I don't
Tiffany
know.
Tipton says she does care what edition they are.
Okay, thanks, Tiffany.
So that, I guess that's kind of a vote for me and not for you, or whatever.
Okay, all right. There's no votes or anything, but okay, let's keep the questions coming, everybody. You see what the quality of this is when there's no.
Hey Todd, do you find the constant interruptions from Tyler distracting? I don't think I actually answered that one. That is a question, by the way, Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah, that counts.
Can we agree?
That counts as a question. Yeah.
I don't really find it distracting. Like I said, I have this thing that I said, it's trademarked. It's called Haterade, and it's not an actual product necessarily, but I like to think of my haters as fuel, you know, for what I do. And that's my answer to that question. Did we have another one? They hate us because they ain't us. Oh, that was great. That's a great quote.
So Todd, we have a little lull here between.
So do you drink Haterade? We have a what? I have a question.
So I was going to go ahead and maybe I could ask you a question. Or
I like that.
Electrospite.
Yeah, Haterade it is full of electric spite. That's very fun. Do the haters drink Haterade or do I drink Haterade? Can I just say that you just blew my mind? But I drink it. I don't think that the haters drink it. I think that I do, because then they would get, maybe they fuel themselves also. I think that it's a beverage that can be enjoyed by haters and hated alike. Yeah. That was a great question.
Thank you for that. That was a great question. And a great answer from you, Todd. Todd,
thank you for saying that.
While we're kind of waiting for more great questions to kind of come in, and folks, hey, you know, all those cats and kittens out there, let's not forget to throw questions into the chat or into the Q&A or put them onto the Q&A. But in the meantime,
speaking of cats and kittens, look at this little one right here.
Little furry friends, a little furry
This is my
friends
cat,
appearance.
Addie. She was just sitting in the window and I just took her away from it, and she's not gonna like that one bit. Yes, Addie appearance. Yep, there she is. Say hi, Bubba. She doesn't always say hi when I ask her to, but that's okay.
Thank you for that. Thanks for showing off your cat.
You're welcome. Let Addie answer questions. She actually is contractually obligated to not answer questions. She's currently working on her memoirs, and part of that is trying to keep quiet and not make public those things of that nature. Sorry. I'm
actually glad that you mentioned the contract, because I actually have a question for you, Todd, which is
memoirs. That's good. Mm-hmm.
Which is, did you see
hey, Todd,
the contract?
My sister and I want to know a documentary you have seen that made you question your purpose in place. Wow. A documentary that I've seen. Do you mean from beginning to end? A documentary that I've seen that has made me question my purpose and place. Oh yeah. Actually, there was one. Do you remember there was one a few years back about this woman, this Russian woman who lived in New York, and she basically was like exploit. I don't know. She made people think she was rich, and I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So someone put it in the comments again. But she made people think she's rich, and she lived off of that. She like lived in like these expensive hotels and stuff, and she conned people. And when I saw that, I realized that I do not manipulate people enough. It really made me think like, man, I am wasting my life by not exploiting other people's kindness. You know what I mean? Like I do feel like that's something that the world maybe could use a little bit more of, or I could. I'm sorry, Tyler, were you gonna ask a question?
We actually have 3 questions sitting in our queue here for you, Todd. I'm going to go ahead and read one to you
sorry.
from John with an H. There's an H in the middle of his name. It doesn't start with H, but it's fine. John with an H. Hey Todd, per your Slack message in AskTodd, I declined my 12:30 EST one-on-one with my manager and told her I wanted to attend AskTodd live instead. Would you consider this a power move? Or will I likely be facing some consequences?
Yeah, great question. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I do think it's a power move, and I definitely think there are going to be some consequences, and I think that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get to the top without breaking some eggs. You know, as they say, you can't climb a ladder without breaking eggs, is the saying. And so I think that you know, yeah, some stuff might not go super well at your next review. But the next review isn't for like another year, right? So YOLO, I think. Great question.
We have another question from I'm never gonna get this name right. Anonymous.
Anonymous attendee. Do I believe in witchcraft? Do I believe in witchcraft? So I don't believe in pseudosciences. I've been very clear that I'm a pragmatist. I believe in the scientific process, things of the supernatural world. But I also do like to make sure to clarify that I'm the kind of person who will say, oh, I don't believe in witches, and then I will watch all the witch movies. And the reason I haven't seen The Witcher though, but the reason is because there is some part of me that really holds on to a hope of belief in a lot of these kinds of things. And although I don't know, it's kind of like it's like from X-Files, you know, I want to believe. That's my answer. I want to believe in witchcraft.
Hey Todd, I've got an issue. My desk at work is covered in cat-related items. My pencil cup, my desktop background, my sticky notes. Everything my coworkers bring me is related to cats.
That's
I'm
not
trying
a
to
problem.
break. I'm not done reading the. Let me finish the question and then you can talk.
Next question.
I'm trying to break out of the mold of becoming a cat lady. Seeing as I am not a single 60-year-old yet, do you have any advice on how to break out of this mold before my inevitable future sets in while I'm only in my 20s? And that question was from Alana.
So when I was, I think 15, I started telling people that my favorite animal was a penguin. And for the next 2 years, I got so many stuffed penguins, and I looked like the classic crazy penguin boy, you know, just like a, you know, cat lady. And I think the analog is the penguin boy. And I totally identify with that, because at some point I was like, I don't think I'm a penguin boy anymore, but I still had all these penguins. Sorry, I need to clear my sorry about that. Look, I think that you can always sell those things on eBay if you really want, if you really need to get rid of them. And also though, here's my thing. You say you're not a single 60-year-old. So don't worry about it. You're not a crazy cat lady. No one thinks you're a crazy cat lady. Even if you were a single 60-year-old, is that so bad? You know, with the coronavirus, it's not so bad to be isolated. That's my answer.
Thanks. That was good.
Mhm.
Great answer. Lucas Hologram wants to know, hey Todd, are all of your guitar Holefield? Lucas Holefield
Hey,
wants to know.
Lucas, you related to the champ? Holyfield.
Okay. Hey Todd, are all of your guitars in standard tuning, or do you have any weird drop D stuff going on?
There was a day, well, actually, there was a time when all of my guitars, this is at least 15 years ago, all of my guitars were in drop C tuning, actually. But they are all in standard now, because I think I grew out of wanting to play that chunky stuff, you know, those heavy jams.
Is that your whole? That's the whole answer to the. Are you done answering the question?
Standard tuning.
Okay. All right. You could have just said that. You don't need to.
Great question.
Doesn't need
Thanks
to be
so
a
much for
whole.
writing. Thanks so much for.
Go ahead.
Thanks so much for writing in, Lucas.
Okay. Todd, your rise to prominence is largely credited with a very popular and very violent Murphy Brown fan fiction, which you are rumored to have authored. I consider Candice Bergen a close friend, and she finds the content inappropriate, to say the least. What would you say to her if she was here right now? And the question's anonymous, so it could be her, because we don't know who it is. So
yeah, I mean, we don't know that she's not here right now.
Right.
Look, Candice. Fan fiction, what you need to realize about fan fiction is that it means more to the fans than it does to those involved in the original artwork. And typically, those who are that passionate about the fan fiction are important to the existence of the original work. The original work wouldn't be as lauded and as loved as it is without these passionate fans. And so if you really have so much of a problem with, you know, my Murphy Brown fan fiction, which is, of course, brown is the darkest color, then I think that you need to take that up with the fans. You know, that's my answer.
That was a great answer.
Thanks.
That was a good answer. This one, finally, a short question. And let's try to keep the questions shorter because
Bring those long questions. Bring those long questions.
Well, you're not reading the questions, so to you, it doesn't matter how long they are. It's hard for me because I'm the one actually reading the questions.
I'm sorry, I totally wasn't paying attention to anything you just said. That's my bad.
Yeah, I don't think you've been paying attention to any of this. I don't feel like you've been giving this your all, to be honest with you. Okay, Todd, we're answering. This isn't.
Go ahead. Let's read the questions.
Todd, do YOLO. Do YOLO. Do YOLO?
That's the actual question. Are you having trouble reading again?
It says, "Hey Todd, do YOLO."
Oh,
do YOLO?
Do you only live once? Well, when you ask that, do I only live once? No. Do most people only live once? Yes. I think I consider every day a new life because every day I wake up with opportunities to be someone else, to do something else, and to care for someone new. You know, I think that people who go through their lives as just this rote, exercise in monotony, yeah, they only live once. But I like to think that I've lived 1,000 lives today, you know? What was the next question?
Okay, next question, another anonymous question. Let's try to be a little braver when we're asking questions, everybody. This is a safe place. Anything you say here, you can't be punished for. We've been told from the highest authority at the company that there will be no repercussions from anything discussed today.
I do feel like there's questions coming in the chat too. How are you managing that there's both questions in the chat and in the Q&A?
The more serious questions seem to be coming in the Q&A area. Okay. The chat is frankly antagonistic. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It's been a detriment to the experience.
Erica, if I do still have any Penguin stuff, it would be at my parents' house in Sacramento. If you want their address, I'll give it to you and you can just stop by sometime.
Not right now, though. Let's not visit Todd's parents right now. Hey Todd, speaking of breaking some eggs, that was forever ago. We talked about breaking eggs. It felt like hours ago, days ago. But speaking of breaking eggs, what is your favorite way to cook your eggs?
Um, yeah, sure. So I prefer, well, it depends on the day, actually. Sometimes on July 4th, I like to make eggs Benedict, and I had that with an Arnold Palmer. I call it my Benedict Arnold, and it's just a great meal for our Day of Independence. But typically, I'm just a scrambled guy, you know, just a scrambled guy, just like you. So next question.
What's been your go-to quarantine cuisine? Let me read
Go
that one again
to,
because let me read that one again because it's got a little rhyme. I can. What's been your go-to quarantine cuisine?
I think it was better the
Like,
first time. And I would say that my go-to quarantine cuisine. Well, I've done a few. I've been kind of experimenting with frozen pizzas a lot. I'll put a different kind of cheese on it, you know, because I don't care, you know. Like I live a little dangerously, so maybe I'll throw like an Italian blend on top of this pizza that was supposedly already cheesed. I've also been eating some goldfish crackers, and
hey, whoa, whoa,
uh,
whoa, whoa, whoa! No brand. We talked about this. No brand names. No. You can say frozen pizza. You can say fish-shaped crackers. We talked about this though. This is why I wanted you to sign that contract. This is why I
I
wanted you
know,
to
but
read
I
that
didn't have a time
contract.
to read it. It was like
Okay,
two
you had
pages
lots of
long.
time. You had lots of time to read it, and you didn't attend our mandatory meeting to discuss this. I scheduled a meeting for us to discuss the contract. You didn't show up to that meeting. It was Friday at 8 p.m.
Hold
I
on, I
know
think I
you
just
didn't
got
have.
retweeted by someone. That's tight.
Okay, we have another question. Do you believe Walt Disney is? Okay, I can't say it's brand. So, do you believe Walt is frozen? Rumor has it he was frozen after death,
I
so
don't
he
think
could
you can say
be.
Frozen either, because that's a movie
You're
that is
right.
made
Okay,
by
you're right. You're
them.
right. Okay.
Yep.
Do you? And they spelled believe wrong. So it's do you believe
Mm-hmm.
Walt is uh, uh, in ice?
Mm-hmm.
Rumor has it he was made colder after
Yep.
death so he could be reanimated in the future. Is it a myth?
Um,
Okay, we can't say Walt because Walt's from a character from the show Lost as well. So,
oh,
do you believe the person who invented a very famous animation studio uh, was put in that he was able to that he wants to be reanimated someday?
right. Um, uh, yes. What was the next question?
Okay. The next question just says, "Great answer." Okay, listen, Lucas, and
Thanks,
anyone
Lucas. I
using this
appreciate that.
in the question and answer section, you can't just be writing. Don't write statements.
Thanks,
It's not
Lucas.
state. It's
Appreciate
not a
that.
statement. It's not the statement box. It's
Don't listen to Tyler, man. You do. Hey, you got to live your truth. Look,
my Slack is
you
blowing
gotta
up with
live.
messages
Shh,
from
shh,
my manager.
you
This is
gotta
not
live
going
your
well.
truth, Lucas.
This is not going well. This is going to be
All right.
yeah. This is going to be a. I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do when this is all
Next question.
said and done. Okay. Next question is from Christina. It says, "Yo, Todd," and it's kind of clever. Yo with there's a zero instead of the O, so it's kind
Oh,
of
that's
like
fun.
science, like a math equation.
That's very fun.
Yo, Todd, what is your favorite movie that you tell people is your favorite movie? And what is your actual favorite movie? Kind of a fun
Okay,
question.
this is a fun question. So when I was being interviewed for Procore, this is a true story. When I was being
Everything
interviewed
you've
for,
said today is true because this is all true. You're not.
hey Tyler, why don't you take a little coffee break? You know, I may actually drink less coffee. I think you've had enough caffeine. When I was being interviewed at Procore 5 years ago now, I was getting a job at the video team, and in my interview they asked me what my favorite movie was. I was like, oh, I'll be funny, let them know I have a fun personality. And I said, Princess Diaries 2. And then I was like, just kidding. My actual favorite movie is, and I froze up and I could not think of the name of one other movie ever made. And I was like, hold on, I'll think of another movie other than Princess Diaries 2. Hold on, hold on. And I just could not think of one. So that's, I guess, the movie I tell people is my favorite movie. Um, But I think you're saying more like, what's the one that I tell people when I'm trying to feign that I'm deep, and that would be Blue Velvet, which I've never seen past the first 5 minutes. It's very disturbing. And then the actual favorite movie was Princess Diaries 1. I actually didn't care for the sequel. What was the next question?
The next question is Vanilla Ice or New Kids on the Block? Please explain your answer. Ha ha ha.
Are you allowed to say either of those names?
Okay, let's skip that one. Sorry, Angelique, we're gonna skip that one. Please, no brand names in here. Here's one, private one that was just sent me. You don't need to send private questions, everybody, but you can if you want to. Hey, Tyler, kind of a refreshing take on Howard. Hey, Tyler, when are we getting an Ask Tyler channel? You're really carrying the show on your shoulders today.
Come on.
So
you probably wrote that yourself, didn't you?
It was anonymous. I can't see who wrote it. I'm gonna go ahead and just say thanks. Hey,
that's
thanks.
Not real.
Thank you. We're gonna hey. Give me let me answer the question and then you can talk. Okay, one at a time, one person at a time. It's in the contract. Thank you for your question.
Well, I didn't look at it. We got some more questions in here. Let's get through them.
Okay.
Hey, do you feel yourself slowly descending into madness during this isolation period, or are you closer to reaching your most powerful? That's a great question, Lauren. Thanks so much for writing it in. I would say that I do feel I'm reaching my most powerful. If I'm being completely honest with you, not much of my life has changed over the last couple of weeks. Still spending a lot of time with my cat, and in the message forums online, which is where my presence is really strong. What was the next question?
We'll skip the next question. It's not
hey,
really.
Todd, why does Tyler suck? Man, that is a great question.
All right,
there's really too many. I can't enumerate. Okay.
Next. Let's go to Tiffany's question here. Hey, Todd, how do you define
antagonistic? I would define Tyler Goff. I think I would use for that one. That's actually I don't want to give you this whole history of that word. When I was in elementary school and I gave people a mnemonic for how to remember how to spell it. Yeah, I would define antagonistic as anything directly causing conflict for someone. Who are you talking to over there, Tyler? Do you actually have a line producer for the show? Hey, Kat. Hey, Todd, me again. What is your take on the OK Boomer meme? It was a ton of fun when things first started, when I first saw that. I haven't seen a lot of OK Boomer memes since then. I do not think it was the longest lasting meme. And also, I don't like things that are generally divisive about generations. So, if I'm being totally honest. Todd, do you know if Zoom is being offered for free to the public during the coronavirus time? I need to virtually hang with friends, and I actually learned yesterday that anyone can use Zoom for up to 40 minutes, and it kicks you off after that. I didn't realize that, but because we're doing our new Zoom integration with Procore, I learned that. So yeah, go ahead and use it. Just don't talk for longer than 40 minutes. Hey, Todd,
I think we're gonna, this is our last question.
Okay.
It's 9:59, our last question. We have a bunch still in here. And unfortunately, this didn't go great, I don't think. So I don't know if we'll ever do anything like this again. I didn't have a good time. And I'm sure no one else in the audience had a good time. We'll see. We'll talk. We'll see. We'll think about it.
Let's get that last question.
Let's get one last question in, though.
Actually, let's do someone other than Kyle. Sorry, Kyle, but we have had yours. Let's do from Carmody. Hey, Todd, what is the first thing you will do once we don't have to quarantine any longer? That's a really great question. I'm going to touch my face. I'm going to touch my face in public, and I'm going to touch other people's faces. I'm not going to do that. That's probably inappropriate. I will touch my face in public, and I might even lick a pole or something like that, like lick the floor. Everything I'm saying, I'm okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go out in public
And
it
there
is.
you have it, everybody. And there it is. Hey, thank you all for being a part of the first ever Ask Todd live Q&A. Probably the last ever Ask Todd live Q&A. We'll see. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
day and bye. And there's going to be another session at 10:30. It's not going to be Ask Todd. We do have another show coming up though, and that show is going to be Leader Talk, owner update with Riggs. So head to the framework page for Procore TV, check it out, and buy, and see you later.